What's up, guys? It's Brandon Flash, the EV Nomad. We're here in Santa Monica, California. I'm headed to Third Street Promenade in my Tesla Model S, and we're going to drive the new Polestar 2. All right, we're at the Santa Monica Third Street Promenade Supercharger. I'm not plugged in because there's not a spot open. It's completely full here. But we're hopping in the elevator and we're heading down to the Polestar Los Angeles Pop Up to go test drive. So I'm actually going to be among the first in the country to test drive because today is the first day of public test drives, at least at the Los Angeles Pop Up Polestar location.
Like I said, you can hide things behind that tile there. So like I said, you have like your Spotify, but you could have Pandora radio, Bluetooth, your radio. Behind your maps, you can have, this is just a test drive route that we have there. Google Assistant, you know, your phone if it's
Do you have to have similar categories for those tiles?
No, these tiles are all customized. Each tile
Okay.
is its own customizable station, so you can put whatever you want in each one of those. It's kind of like you had a regular phone tablet. You know?
Okay, so you don't have to have other audio sources.
You don't have to.
Okay.
That's just an option. Like I was saying, you can do, it's fully customizable in that way. So again, like I said, all four of these tiles are customizable. You don't have to have them with these particular options that are on there. You can do, you know, different things in there. But the reason they're big like this is it's easy to get to. It's easy to navigate.
So that way when you're touching it while you're driving, it's not going to be distracting.
Large. Exactly. So and that's part of the whole deal with the Google Voice is that you can literally use it to change all your settings, so you don't have to take your hands off the wheel. And so these are your different steerings, like you said.
I love that there's a setting for creep.
Yep. So like right now we're in standard. This is the mode that the car comes in when you turn it on. So
okay. Does it default every time, or is this profile oriented?
This is default profile, but you can once you set it to your settings, it'll stay whatever you had it left at.
Okay. Well, that's handy at least. And then this has the pilot assist. Is that correct?
Yeah. So you got the pilot assist, you got the driver support here. We try to keep that off just so we don't. Not this one, but some of the things we keep off just so it doesn't bother you, like lane keeping assist and all that.
Sure. I mean, I'd like to try that because coming from someone that uses autopilot over 90% of my driving.
Yeah, because some people, this isn't fully autonomous, or not. It's only level 2 autonomy. So
okay, I mean that's what autopilot is too, technically, just with some bonus features.
Exactly. So this is not quite as advanced as that, where Tesla's using the extra stuff there, but this will do most what any other like Volvo would do. So
okay, is this using like neural nets or is this and like fleet learning, or is this all on the car?
I'm not familiar with the neural net.
Okay, so it's probably just all being processed on the car locally then?
Yeah, I mean, there's a 360 camera in the front. And there's a radar that's heated, so even in like cold temperatures, one of the things that I've had issues with in the past with EVs especially is cold. This car is meant to be in 0-degree weather, and still get to Malibu. How much charge you should have left? So by the time I get to Malibu, I should still have 70% charge on there.
Okay, and then
it's really helpful when you're going to the places, and obviously you know how it is.
Yeah.
Planning ahead, you can say, oh, well, I got 70%. When I get there, I'll be fine. Let's say you go somewhere that's like San Francisco.
Yeah, can we try that and see if it will add in charging along the route?
Hey, Google, navigate to San Francisco.
Okay, San Francisco. Here we go.
See, it's going to tell you have 0% battery, so it's going to allow you to find charging stations along the way as you go. And so you can sit there and confirm, and you'll say like, oh, I have 0%. So along the way, it'll guide you, and it'll start.
Does it show you that along the way?
I believe when you're in the route, it's going to start showing you charging stations in your route. Once you get closer to a point where, it's going to start reminding you, hey, you might need to find a charging station soon.
Let's see here on the route view. Okay, so it's adding. Or no, those are just Google Maps routes.
Yeah, A, B, and C.
Let's see route options. No, those are just standard. It's really interesting that it doesn't add the charging stations for you, because I believe that was something that they were at least trying to do, but maybe isn't implemented yet.
Yeah, I mean, everything's going to be over-the-air updates too, so they're going to be adding things as it goes, kind of like any other, current technologically advanced car that's in the market right now. Everything's going over the air. So it also has its own 3 years of free internet available too that comes with the car. So that's not anything to do with your phone. So you don't have to have your phone connected to use the data, to use the maps, to use Pandora or anything like that. It's all,
do you know what carrier that's through by chance?
I don't know the carrier they're using.
Okay.
I can find out though.
Oh, it's updating offline maps. That's handy.
So yeah, so let's say you go into a place where, the reason it's doing that also is because it knows there's going to be some dead spots in there.
Yeah.
Where they're not going to have service, so that's where it's going to download download offline, so that when you get to those places where there is no service or anything like that, the GPS will still be able to guide you where you're going.
Okay.
And I believe in there we'll still find charging stations within there and keep that in the thing, but that I'm not sure on. I have to reconfirm on that, but.
All right, so how do I reset like the trip and stuff on here? Because I'm curious to see like how the efficiency goes.
So you hit there, and then you can go and click on this.
And then just press and hold.
Yep. Just get confirm.
Done. Okay. Oh, that's pretty slick. So we're at 79%. This car has about 2,700 miles on it. And then does this use like a guessometer, or will this use rated display? As far as like if you put it on will it display a mileage instead of a percentage too?
I think it does show the miles actually, yeah. When you're on the regular screen.
Okay.
You hit. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
So it shows you your range right here, 150
Okay.
miles.
And then do you know if that's using rated efficiency or like
I think
based
it will
on driving?
depend. Yeah, I think it's going to change obviously when you're driving. So once you start going, it's going to learn your kind of driving characteristics, and it's going to adjust accordingly to that.
Okay.
And so especially if you have it on the map too, like if you had a destination, it would assume that based on like optimal driving, you're going to get this far with this much range left over. But it will change as you go. It's going to constantly be updating itself.
Don't want heated seat on. And then there was a route on here, you said, right?
Yeah, so another route, we're just going to take a route. I got a program. So we're just going to go out here, take a left, and we'll make a right onto the street. Make a left on this one, and then make a right on the very first one there.
That doesn't come out any farther. That's kind of annoying.
What's that?
The steering wheel doesn't come out any farther.
Yeah.
I would want it like here, ideally.
Right. Yeah.
Pedal response is pretty good. Not touchy like a lot of cars are.
Oh.
Are they even allowed to ride those on sidewalks?
No, not technically, but you're in California, so.
All right.
Get over here into that far right lane.
Taking it right.
Yeah.
That turn signal noise is a little strange.
Oh. Forgot about the farmer's market. It's today and Saturday.
Okay, let's just flip around.
Yeah, let's do a UE here.
That's good to try out turning circle. And I'm actually pretty impressed. It's I would say on par with what I would expect. Nothing amazing, but nothing like bad. It definitely throws you back. It has a hit. Sorry, I didn't warn you.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, in sport mode, you know, it's gonna turn off the traction control to give it a little bit more of a
Dynamic
driving, you know, experience versus trying to nanny you and everything.
Sure. Do we know what the Olins are set at for dampening? Are they set in the middle?
They're set right now for like the most optimal, just everyday
full soft?
Yeah, not full soft. It's kind of closer to full soft, but it's more for a day-to-day driving type of a dynamic there. And then you know, obviously you got the 22 clicks that you can go with these, but I don't think we don't ever mess with that stuff. It's
probably not worth it for test drives.
Someone might have messed with it since then, so it may or not be at the setting that it was set up from the factory. So I haven't actually
physically verified.
Yeah, and from what I understand, it's not quite as easy to adjust. I mean, you still do it, but the Polestar one is way easier to get to.
Yeah, this you have to crawl under the back to get to the control arms, and then I think you have to pull the plastics off in the front. So it rides pretty well. I would say it's very compliant, but still firm. I would say it's comparable to a BMW like M series. Take it right here.
No, I was just saying the person was going the wrong way on the scooter.
I'm not surprised. And what was your name again? I'm sorry.
Danny.
Okay. One pedal driving is very nice. Do we have a power meter here? Like, oh, okay, never mind, right there.
Yep.
It's interesting that it's a symmetrical power meter display. So I would imagine the Regen is not the same as power output.
Yeah, there's different screens you can try out. So this one right here is going to show you.
Will this show me like parking sensor info too?
It doesn't show you up in there. It's all in the screen here that shows you that.
Because I know at low speed the Tesla Model S or even the Model 3 on the live car display, it'll actually show you the parking sensor. Even at highway speed, that shows you that too.
Yeah, I've seen like if you're sitting there parked on the side of the road, I've only had about 20 minutes inside the car physically.
Sure.
And so it's hard to say what the little nuances are with this thing yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of like little things that even a lot of people
just figure it out as you go.
Even if you own a car, you might not notice unless you're very aware of things.
Right. And so like if you're sitting on the side of the road and someone pulls next to you, you'll see the thing pop up. It'll actually pull the 360 camera view up on you.
Okay, that's awesome. So it pulls up the 360 view when you're near other vehicles?
Correct. Or you're near an object that's like, you know, say a wall that's really close. It might try to say, hey, well, you're a little close to that wall.
And I would assume when you put it in reverse, it would pull it up too?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, when you put it in reverse, it shows a backup camera. It doesn't show you the full 360.
Okay, but then you can tap and switch it?
I think so. I was trying to mess around with that. I haven't had, again, these are things I haven't got a chance to really play with yet. It's kind of got, I had about 10 or 15 minutes in the car yesterday, and today is you're actually my first drive today. So.
Okay. Well, I think they were saying I'm the first drive in general.
Yeah, in the West Coast.
Okay, that's awesome.
That's not, you know, that's
not an employee or media.
Yeah, you're public, so you can actually go right here. Okay. That's San Jacinto, yeah, that's where we want to go.
I must say that turn signal noise is so strange. It sounds like a speaker popping.
It does.
It's not like it's like not confidence inspiring at all.
It sounds like a kind of a click, like it's like a puff of air.
Well, it's like if you have a bad audio source and you're feeding it to like an amplifier or something.
Yeah.
It sounds exactly like that. That's the best way to describe it, in my opinion.
To me, it sounds like you're cracking your knuckles, kind of.
Oh yeah. Very nice and quiet in here. I would say it's what I would expect from a Volvo or like a BMW or a Mercedes. It's definitely quieter than my Model S.
Yeah, that's one of the things they're going to go for is, you know, it's luxury performance in tech. You know, where obviously the Tesla's going to be what most people are going to compare this to, but they really don't want it. You can take it right here. Okay. They're trying to really separate the car from that. You know, they want this to be, you know, more about the performance and the build quality and the backing of Volvo with it. You know, that you know when you buy this car that everything is done well and gone over really thoroughly, and they expect this car to last a lifetime. So through good maintenance and everything like that, the car should last you a long time. And they want these cars to be on the road in 10 years from now, 15 years from the road.
Speaking on both of those things, you say the backing of Volvo. So what's the service?
So the service actually goes through. There's on the Polestar 1, they give you 3 services, I think, for free on there. You'll have to double check on these things, but with this one, they'll offer it. It's basically, I think, twice a year you go in, get your regular maintenance done. So just, you know, wiper blades, things like that. The normal
Twice a
wear.
year?
It's either once or maybe it's once a year. But it's just the normal wear and tear items and stuff like that. And it's all done through your app. So you do it on the computer or on your tablet or whatever. And the car will actually say, hey, time for a service, and it will send a signal to Polestar, and the Polestar will send you a signal too to your phone.
Okay.
And it'll say, hey, Brandon, it's time to schedule, you know, your maintenance for the car.
Okay.
And then what you'll do is you go online, do everything through that. So everything is meant to be through your phone, through an app, through the computer. No really physical human interaction in that sense. So,
But who's physically doing the service?
So they're going to come pick the car up for you.
Okay. Is that in all markets, or what markets is that in?
It's in the major markets right now. So I think it's going to be something they're going to have to work through there.
Sure.
But somewhere like here, there would be someone that would pick up the car, take it to a service center, who brings it back fully charged, fully cleaned, and then, you know, basically it's like your hands are clean. So let's say you go to work, you show up to work, car gets picked up at that time, and then sorry, that's my boss there.
Huh.
Car gets picked up, taken to the service center, and then it's nothing to do with any. It's not going to be under Volvo though, so it's not. You couldn't take it to a Volvo service center. To
Okay,
get it
that's kind of what I was getting at. So are they going to be Polestar franchise locations, or?
That's a good question. I think that they're going to be. Yeah, I think there's going to be some sort of main hub that they'll be able to take the vehicles to wherever they're going to have them, because obviously they're going to have the stores are going to be in high populated areas like downtown.
Initially, of course, yeah.
Downtown LA, you know, San Francisco, New York City, things like that, and then the idea is to keep the cars from being in a rural lot. You know, they're not trying to take you to the middle of nowhere to go buy a car.
Yeah, I mean, what about like people in, say, the Midwest or like Chicago, Minneapolis?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. We can find out when we get back.
Sure.
One of the guys from Polestar is actually there. He probably know more about that.
Okay.
I think this is kind of like a work in progress as we're
Of course,
through.
yeah. You guys are learning as I'm learning. I mean, it's a new manufacturer.
Totally.
Tesla was still figuring it out up until a couple of years ago, really.
Yeah, totally.
So I really like the regenerative braking. It's a one-pedal driving. It comes totally to a complete stop. It's almost a little bit more aggressive than I'm used to, even with like the Model 3. But I think it's the dual permanent magnet motors that really help with that down to zero.
In this car?
Yeah. Because permanent magnet motors are a lot better for regenerative, because induction motors, you actually have to have power applied for anything to be happening.
Okay, so it's always taking energy from somewhere.
Correct. Whereas a permanent magnet motor, it's, by definition, it's a permanent magnet.
Just
so
reversing the
it
polarity.
can always be generating electricity, even down to very low power.
Yeah.
So last night we were wandering, and we went to Third Street Promenade to charge my car after we had just driven into town.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, let's go see if the Polestar Pop Up is open, because the last time I was in town, I was here too late in the day, and it wasn't open. So I saw it like through the window, but I wasn't able to go in and like actually check it out.
Well, you guys have the right time then.
Yeah. And yesterday I stumbled in and they were like, yeah, do you want to drive it? They're like, we're starting test drive tomorrow. I'm like, yes.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's exciting, man. It's really fun to be a part of this, you know, and watch this thing grow, because I've been watching the Polestar.
Yeah.
So this one here, actually, if you look up, you can see it's projecting the North Star there.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. I
So
was
it's
like,
easier
what?
to see at night, or when it's dark, you can see it better, but that's what it's doing. You're projecting that the little star up there.
Yeah, I couldn't quite tell like what this weird ridge is. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on there?
Yeah, this one's also got the Harman Kardon system, which is pretty decent. It's not
Yeah, I've been told it's good. It's about
Good.
what you'd expect.
right.
The initial pedal is actually like a little bit weird. Maybe it's just me coming from a Tesla versus a gas car, but
Right.
I'm used to the tip-in being a little bit more aggressive.
Okay. Yeah, I think that that's like any car, though. You know, you're gonna feel slight differences in that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure what their idea with the response was on the throttle. Like, you know, if they want. I think this is supposed to be a car that anybody can get in and drive. And
Yeah, I think a lot of that was that they wanted to feel normal.
exactly. Yeah.
They want to feel like you're getting in a car that you're used to, you've driven for 20 years, a gas car, and not suddenly end up in a wall because the
Right.
pedal mapping was so aggressive.
Yeah, oh, yeah, especially the electric torque. I mean,
Yeah, it's instant, and people aren't used to that, especially if they're coming from gas cars.
oh yeah, I mean, it's insane. Even this little thing with it's 486 torque in it, but it's enough that you feel it. And 486 pound-feet of torque and anything else wouldn't feel like this does.
No.
It's insane. I mean, I've driven a lot of different cars, you know, from from McLarens to you know, Aston to BMW M series cars and all that stuff, and they're all really fast. But this thing is just the way it's immediate. It's like there's no lag in there, and it's when you're relying on a twin turbocharged, you know, V8. It takes a moment. You still got power, but it's not the same delivery. It's more of a very gradual like torque band.
Yeah, unless you're doing launch mode and you have the boost built up and you're torque loading it and everything. But that's just, there's so much going on there. It's not you just floor it. Right. Do you mind if I floor it?
No, a little bit, yeah. We gotta be careful what we do though, because we are in city streets and they do track these cars. So okay. I don't want my first day to be like, hey man, we saw you guys were doing 90 on Santa Monica streets there.
No, just to like see how it feels.
Totally. Take a ride on to Santa Monica or Colorado when we get up here.
Okay.
Take a ride up there. Yeah, I'd love to see this thing on track, see how it really feels, like to get a chance to truly test out the suspension on this thing, because that's really what they pride this thing on, is in performance, you know. But I'm hoping this is a new thing for the rest of possibly the rest of the year. Yeah. And, you know, they're supposed to launch in San Francisco soon, and then they're going to be launching in Canada, doing pop-ups like this as well.
So are you a traveling crew then?
We'll see. We'll just kind of see how this goes, you know, and if it all goes well, then and you know, just have to kind of play by ear. So
as with everything this year, it seems.
Yeah, totally. All right, so we're going to go down one more block, and we'll take a ride in a second.
Then we're going to pull it back in the alley.
Yep.
I think the most interesting thing about the regenerative braking, it feels really aggressive toward the end, which is kind of an unusual feeling.
Yeah, that's with the standard. I mean, with the low, you wouldn't feel that as much. You know?
No, I mean, it's kind of a good thing. It just takes a little bit of getting used to.
Totally,
I wish every EV was like that.
Yeah, and that's one thing that's, you know, especially for new people, for you, you're obviously used to that, but like it's one of those things that you really have to like kind of build people into.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna have to get used to this, but it is a really cool feature once you figure it out.
Well, and it makes it way more efficient. So I have access to the CAN bus on my Model S.
Okay.
And over the 175,000 miles that my car has on it, it's regenerated over 30 megawatt hours. So that's almost 30% of the energy that car has used in its life has been regenerated.
That's pretty cool.
So that makes a huge impact in efficiency.
You should be able to turn left right there.
Into the alley. Yep. There's Model Y, look at that. Sometimes like someone that would buy a Model Y early on, like they are, you would think that they would be maybe aware of a car like this.
Yeah.
But apparently not.
Well, I find with Tesla owners, it's either like they're really enthusiastic about everything, or they're just really enthusiastic about their one Tesla.
Yeah, Tesla people are interesting. Either they've come from the car world and they like know lots of cars, or they know EVs as a whole, or they're like, oh, I bought this Tesla. Everything else sucks. Right. I love Tesla.
Yeah, it's interesting. You can kind of pull it to the side right here, just right on the block. Yeah, I mean, I've met a lot of different people with the cars, especially because I worked with other EV brands and stuff.
Sure.
And it's like when a guy has a Tesla, it's like he's always going to compare everything to his Tesla. You know, it's always like, well, my Tesla does this and my Tesla does that. What does this do to my Tesla? You know, and it's always like, okay.
I mean, I'm guilty of that, but also because
it's a pride thing too, which I understand.
Well, it's also no one else is doing a lot of the things that Tesla's doing, so it is the basis of comparison, and no one else has built anywhere near the amount of electric cars or as good of electric cars. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they've definitely hit the market with a Thor hammer, I'd say, you know, with
the irony of this car having Thor hammer headlights.
Yeah, so you know, it's cool. That's why I'm excited about this car, because I haven't really been excited about any particular electric cars that have been coming out until this thing, because everything else has kind of been boring. You know, I've worked with the other brands out there, and I told you, someone walks by, you'll get the view there.
That's cool.
And so,
and then it hides itself too.
Yeah. So another cool thing is on here is like if you want to split the air, you can hit that button. You know,
you can have dual zone.
Yeah, so it's kind of a neat little feature within that. Yeah, I like it too, because everything being with I'm very much related with Google, because I've always had an Android, so for me this is a really cool system. But it also works with your Apple CarPlay, so you can still, it'll be coming in as an over-the-air update.
Okay, so it doesn't have it quite yet.
Yeah, it's going to be integrated, but it won't be quite as good as this. But again, like I said, one of the cool things is you don't actually have to have your phone connected. The only reason you want your phone connected is you really want it to personalize to you.
Or for Bluetooth audio if you want that, or
whatever.
Audio, yeah.
But also just in general, like your schedule. Let's say you're a busy person, you have meetings and all that. All that stuff will come up onto here.
Okay.
You'll be like, hey, Brandon, you have a meeting at 12 o'clock. Don't forget.
Can it sync Google Calendar independently of your phone?
I don't know. I think you have to sign in with your, if you want it to be tailored to your personal account, you have to sign in with your Google password. Otherwise, the system will use its own, you know.
But you can sign into your Google account on here? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see the efficiency. So that's decent efficiency for city driving. About 417 watt-hour per mile. Not bad, not great. I mean, overall fit and finish, really good. Is there a Spotify demo account? Let's try this.
So your volume should be here, track up or track left.
Is that?
Is that working?
Oh, maybe because I'm on that screen?
Oh, sorry, it's this one. Dummy here.
But that looks like, that's cruise control.
No, it should be that one, I thought.
I think it's because I'm on this screen here.
Oh, there you go. Try it now. Yeah.
All right. No, I hit it again on accident.
Yes. I was like, I feel like a dummy right now. Like, how this works. I
No, you're right.
the button there.
So how many speakers does this have?
This one is 9 speakers.
Okay. So we got speakers there, there.
They reduced it, they put the subwoofer up here so they could leave more space for this area here. So you do have your mid-range on the sides here, but
it's really interesting that they've kind of hid all the speakers except for the ones on the dash.
Sweeter, yeah.
Well, and the subwoofer here.
Yeah.
And you've got the branding with the Harman Kardon.
Yep. And that's kind of what these are too. This is their little like signature piece there.
Okay. And then you can maybe oh yeah, actually it captures perfectly.
You see the star now?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, this is actually 95% UV blocker, so it'll block up to 95% of the UV ray through the sun.
So I suspect this was built because they needed room for all these electronics, and they were like,
that's something I couldn't answer for you, but Chris might know. He's actually one of the guys. What'd you think though, man?
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I wish I could like
being a Model 3 or Model S guy. I mean, obviously you're the one that's going to know more and you know really have a true opinion on what an electric car should feel like.
Yeah, I wish I could like go rip it in the canyons to
get
a feel of really how it drives, because any car drives fine on city streets. I mean, there's no bad
not
car.
a good comparison.
There's no bad cars that exist anymore. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in business anymore.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's like the only fortunate part about doing this is you get to hear the quietness of the car and how, you know, being an electric car, you don't get the sound of all the extra stuff, which depending on who you are, you might like that, but for comfort and everything, so you got a wireless charging tray there on the side.
USB here. USB-C. It's a dual USB-C, and I would guess that this one with the white is probably the data one. That seems reasonable to me.
Yeah, it seems reasonable for sure. That's probably the one we can.
Am I able to play with the infotainment on the car and the?
Yeah, totally.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. It worked.
Okay, well that's cool. A lot of glare there. Wow. But I guess the sun is just right. Let's try this. Am I doing it? I think that's about.
It's more of a. It's supposed to have a 3 meter or a 1 meter sensor on it.
Is it more of a kick and hold, or is it a kick and swing?
It's kind of just one of those things that I've had. As you can see, it works like partially and then does its thing and then doesn't. I guess it's dust on here, so it doesn't look so bad on the picture.
What their vision is and how fast it takes to come together.
Okay, so you can only get the ventilated Napa with snow.
There's some other ones I believe.
So we're only producing 500 piece worldwide.
Like being really innovative.
They're just making appliance cars now.
Yeah, now definitely the shift has happened, especially with the cost of things and everything. But I remember back in the day, they used to be so much fun because they would just had the coolest little.
Yeah.
We're still working out some things.
So you can get one as soon as November 2020. Wow. All right, just to add some information here while it's still fresh in my head, I did talk to Christopher from Polestar Corporate. He was telling me about the charging partners. They're working with both EVgo, ChargePoint, and they're hoping to be working with Electrify America as well, but they do not have any specific one partner at this time. Overall, I was very impressed with the car. I wish I could drive it farther to really see how the Olins do. If you want to hear a little bit more about the driving dynamics, check out Kyle Connor Out of Spec Motoring's video, but it's actually on the Inside EVs channel, so check that out. They have really good content there. But I did get confirmation this is the first public test drive in the entire West Coast, because they have a pop-up in New York City as well, but they have one in San Francisco and here in LA, which is Santa Monica. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully this helps someone out. The test drive was a very good experience. I thought it was a little strange that they did have someone ride along with me, but that was fine. Obviously not great for social distancing, but we were wearing masks, so I wasn't concerned at all with it. But if that's something that concerns you, definitely wait a bit. But it makes sense to have someone come with you on a vehicle like this, being that, especially on a vehicle that's so new and different compared to what most people would be experienced with. So it is helpful to have them with, even for me as someone that's very familiar with electric vehicles as a whole. The interface is a lot different than other cars, and it just takes a little getting used to. You want someone that's familiar with it, so that way you can actually understand the car and not be confused with it or trying to figure it out as you're driving along. Let me know if you have any questions. I did take some photos as well. Again, this trip has now come to an end, kind of. We're now headed back from LA area to Phoenix. Just finished driving the new Polestar 2. If you're watching this, you've already seen the Polestar video. That's been out longer than this road trip will be out, but definitely check that out if you haven't. It's a very cool car. And we are now headed out from Santa Monica. We're headed to Beaumont, California first. That's going to be our first stop. And then back to Phoenix. I'm hoping to be back in Phoenix by like 8 or 9 p.m. And on one of these stops, I'm going to be putting together my Polestar 2 review.